Hey guys, on this episode of Revealed, we're gonna walk through this kitchen that we're just about wrapped up fabrication on. So we showed you previously how we were fabricating the doors of this kitchen. This is a rift white oak kitchen, so the two appliance towers are going to be full rift white oak, the lowers are rift white oak, and the uppers are actually going to be painted. They're over in another location, so they're not here behind me. But let's jump in and take a look through here. So this first tower here, we have a full-size oven and a speed oven going into these two openings. And below here is one large drawer. It's going to be about 13 inches deep with a smaller, much shallower drawer on top. This is going to hold things like large pots and pans and their lids. In the top cabinet here, we actually have something that we've done on a few projects where we've made these adjustable vertical dividers. So the idea here is that you can take these out, move them around into any of these other channels. And this can accommodate things like smaller pans and cookie sheets, as well as some additional storage on the top here. So one of the things we like to do on the projects that we're fabricating is we don't often like to have surfaces butt together on the same plane. So for example, with this filler here, typically something like this is flush with the actual door. But when we get up to the crown piece, we don't want those two pieces to be flush. So we go ahead and pull that crown out about 1/8 of an inch so that it is on a different plane and it has this intentional reveal. So we carry that detail across onto the return panel. A little bit difficult to see here because this panel isn't actually secured in yet. We just roughly put this kitchen together so we can walk through it and make sure everything fits before we take it all apart and give it a final sanding. So swinging around, this is actually going to be the cooktop area. So we're gonna go back and cut this cabinet top out. The center divider is already cut out for that cooktop, but we're trying to maximize storage in this kitchen. So behind this door, we're actually going to have a few roll-out shelves that sit just below the cooktop. The cooktop is pretty shallow here, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room inside that cabinet. In the corner, so once we get that hardware installed, it's going to pull out a few different angles here so that you can easily access stuff that's tucked into the back of the cabinet. And you might have noticed that all of the doors have this notch in them. That's because we went with an edge pull for this kitchen. These ones here have a larger projection than you would typically find because we do use 1-inch thick doors. We don't want to go with a shallow pull that is hard to grab with something like this. So we went with the larger projection. Those notches are so that this sits right into place and will sit flush with the door. Now we do leave the hardware just a hair proud so that once the doors are finished, it will flush out nicely. Continuing on, this slim cabinet here, right next to the cooktop, this is actually going to be for spices and oils, things that you need while cooking. You'll have them nice and close. So once this drawer pulls out, this here is what you're going to see. We have 2 tiers that are fixed and then one that will be an adjustable shelf. Throughout this space, you can kind of move it to suit your needs. We actually have 2 of those in this particular kitchen. And moving on, we have the space for the dishwasher. And then we have the sink cabinet, just a standard sink base. They are doing a larger galley style sink, so it will have the built-in cutting boards, washing baskets, things like that. So just standard open space below to allow room for plumbing and garbage disposal, things like that. And then at the top, we have this tilt-down drawer that can hold smaller items like your sponges and scrub brushes. At the end of this run here, we just have your standard drawer bank. This is where things like silverware and utensils will be kept. And in this corner, we're actually using a Le Mans. The homeowners wanted to try out both corner units. Each one had features that they liked. And they had the idea of maybe if in the future they want to swap one out for the other, they can certainly do that. Then we have the second spice type pullout. Again, just additional adjustable storage behind this door. And then we have the refrigerator opening. This is not going to be a panelized refrigerator, just stainless steel panels with some open storage above to allow for some larger items. Over on the end, we have this very large filler. Currently in that space, there's a wall that protrudes out here. We're gonna remove that wall during demo. Next to that wall, they actually have a step stool and some utility items. So this is actually going to be an entire pull out. This whole filler will pull right out So let me take this panel off and give you an idea of what we're talking about. Behind the door, you can see we have just this full height pull-out, similar to the spice racks. So when we open this right up, we are still waiting for the slide for the top to come in. That's going to stabilize this entire unit so it's not wobbling all over the place like this. So basically this will pull all the way out. There'll be a pegboard that goes full height in here, and they can hang their stepladder, brooms, and additional items on the pegboard. So now let's go take a look at the upper cabinets. This entire run is actually flipped right upside down. That is so we could work on the under cabinet skins and make sure that those were fitted properly. So what we like to do in our under cabinet skins is have this light channel. So we'll go ahead and add that in right now during fabrication so that there's no cutting of these panels later. And these upper cabinets actually aren't going to have any handled hardware. Instead, we have this miter on the edge of the cabinet skin. This is going to allow you to just reach from the bottom and open that door. That way there we get this nice, clean, hardware-less look on the upper cabinets, yet they're still very easy to open. These corners here are going to be a bifold door. We haven't quite put that hardware on yet, but the idea is once you open these doors, this door will open all the way up, folding the second one over, and you'll have full access to this cabinet. And the Lazy Susan will allow you to access easily all of those items on the inside. This was something that the homeowner had requested. And then there's a fixed shelf on the top, again, for additional items. The next 3 cabinets are just open cabinets with adjustable shelving. And because they are a little bit on the wider side, we did opt to put a run of shelf pins down the backs as well to help prevent some of that sag. In this corner, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we'll have bifold doors here where this door folds over, giving you full access into this cabinet. And this cabinet here will just be adjustable shelving like some of the others. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble this kitchen, give it a final sand, and off the finish it will go. One of the biggest issues that we ran into with fabricating this kitchen is here in our area, we were hit with some pretty bad wind and rainstorms. So the shop actually went without power for a few days. Ian ended up working by work light and daylight near the loading docks to get some of the handwork done. So big shout out to him for making that happen. While we were in the shop fabricating this, James was in the field installing a few of our other projects. You may remember from a previous episode, we showed you these angled doors. They were kind of funky, and this weird HVAC panel that was on some interesting hardware. Basically, that hardware was moving vertically up and down with very little projection off the wall. Well, James installed that this week, and it looks great.
You hear that click, Doug?
Felt good.
Very good, puppy.
That seemed right.
Seemed very good, didn't it?
The hardware works spectacularly, and we even added a few very strong magnets to help secure that latch mechanism closed so that that panel doesn't ever fall down. Even though the hardware does do an excellent job of keeping that panel up vertically, we wanted to add a little bit of security since it is so high up off the ground.
Don't like you're working in there.
All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for this episode. I know we breezed through this kitchen pretty quickly. If you do have any questions about anything that you saw here or anything in general in our shop, please be sure to drop them in the comments below and we'll answer them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share with a friend, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.